Hello everybody, again coming at you with another video here today talking about the Vancouver Canucks and my favorite team and why they're making me unhappy. Now before we start, I wanted to say please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new to me, new to hockey, whatever the case may be. I'd love to have you here along the way as I try to do this as a career. Now let's talk about Vancouver and why I'm an unhappy camper. So Vancouver, of course, started the year with some expectations of a possible playoff push. Now they weren't a guaranteed team. I did think that they would be in an opportunity, maybe to get like the third spot in the division or possibly at least a wild card spot or at least be in the hunt. And here we are at this point of the year. They're not exactly in that situation. Things started poorly, I will say. A big thing for this club early on was multi-goal leads that were blown. That was frustrating, something like 7 within the first 20-some games or something like that. It was hard, especially the fact that I think one night we were up like 4-0 and ended up losing the game 5-4. Might have been vice versa. But either way, Vancouver early on was struggling. And we saw some big guys that were key parts of the franchise that were moved on from during this season, namely Bo Horvat through a trade to the New York Islanders. Our captain, of course, sent away to another team for his first time, and hopefully maybe he'll get a chance to return to the Canucks. And then our head coach, Bruce Boudreau, fired, of course. Who couldn't love Bruce, a guy that maybe this second year didn't exactly go how you'd hope it would, but at the same time, a guy that achieved a lot, especially last year, gave Vancouver fans kind of something to be hopeful about. So it's just depressing early on. You're feeling pretty good, thinking maybe, just maybe, we could get a playoff appearance and make some things happen if we got hot. And then basically blowing every lead you could have, and then firing your head coach, who's pretty likable among the fan base, and then trading away a player that I would say is a fan favorite as well. I know some fans weren't thrilled with some points of his career, but Bo is really having a career year with the club. That led to some dysfunctionalness, which that's probably not even a word. But yeah, the Canucks really from this point on were able to be in their element, being functionally dysfunctional, and from there on things looked pretty bleak. You knew that they probably weren't going to really be pushing for a playoff spot. The good news is, around that time, you're thinking play some of these younger guys, some of these prospects, and try to lose and get a good pick. And maybe, just maybe if we're lucky, really start to tank towards the back end of this season and have a spot maybe in the top 4. I don't exactly know if that would have happened, but to be in a good spot with this draft where a lot of people were excited about it, to have that higher overall pick compared to some other clubs would have been great. Then we just started winning out of nowhere. In fact, we've won 7 of our past 8 games and consequently hurt our odds of getting a really high pick. That's not necessarily a bad thing because playoffs, right? Not really, no. At this point, Vancouver would probably need a miracle to make the playoffs, sitting at a 0% chance according to MoneyPuck.com. They are probably not going to get there. You're looking at other clubs above them, Calgary, Nashville, Winnipeg, etc. These are not clubs that they're really going to have a time to get past to. Now, Vancouver, I think, does have a pretty easy schedule remaining throughout this year. But the problem is you would need to win almost all your games and then need all these other teams to lose almost all their games. And then you would hope that you would have a chance to make up the gap, which really there's not a lot of room remaining. But of course, Vancouver, being Vancouver, has the 4th easiest remaining schedule this year and is a group that understandably wants to play well, has something to prove, is young, and that's got me concerned because I could very well see us going on a decent run to close out the season. Problem is, we're not going to make the playoffs. I really don't see a world where we make the postseason, and then basically we're just going to end up giving ourselves a worse overall pick. So until then, I will continue to be unhappy and happy at the same time. I do like to see the club win. It does make me happy as a fan. This recent play is something that puts a smile on my face, but also when you look at it and you realize, hey, we're not going to make the playoffs and we're really not doing ourselves any favor with this draft, you have to say, we have to think about priorities and realistically where this club is headed for the upcoming future. And I do think it is probably a little bit downward, depending if we flip some of our, our guys, especially like Brock Besser or something like that in the coming years. We're probably focused on a retool at least, if not a rebuild. We'll have to see. But what are your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks right now? And Vancouver Canucks fans, tell me why you're unhappy or happy with the recent stretch. Do you want them to try to make that playoff push, or do you want them to try to play poorly to help out their draft odds? At this point, though, considering where they're at and how easy their schedule is. Just throw caution to the wind and I guess win many games as possible if you're going that route. Anyway, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night, and you go off hockey all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.